Right. Pin, 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 pin.
The thing about extreme heat is
Today's not bad even.
it's just not fun.
Yeah.
Just not fun.
You know how hot it's been when you start saying, like me, things like, well, it's only supposed to be 90 today, so it's fine. Just keep telling my child we're too white for this. Daisy, we are too white for this. Second.
And we're fortunate enough to have a pool in our backyard. I mean that's a blessing during the summer months.
But it's still too hot.
But you've got to go out into the.
But it's still too hot to go
in the pool.
outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm telling you, my baby doesn't know that she's really, really pale yet. Keep saying it. She's really, really pale. Does not have that memo typed in yet. Thank you, Frank. It's the lack of sleep. I appreciate you. Hello, 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 everybody. It's good to be with you.
Our regulars, the usual suspects are lining up here. Yep. And hello to each and every one of you.
Hello, hello, my friends. I love when it's all working. That's my favorite. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon to you, Kevin. Hello. What's the pool water temp? All right. Alice Maltin, no surprise. Alice Maltin is a pool diva. This should not come as a shock to anyone. So she does insist on the pool being heated. She's generally pleased if it is approximately 86 degrees. And if it is much below or above that, she complains. And so what is our goal in life? Keep Alice Maltin happy.
That's right.
So we try to keep that temperature.
That's what it's all about.
That's folks. The whole life is keeping Alice Maltin happy, because if we don't, she makes us suffer. Not really, a little bit. It's true. It's half a joke, a truth joke, as Danny likes. My friend Danny says, truth joke. But yeah, it has been beautiful, just also insanely hot. And that has meant lots of movie watching, TV show watching, trying to convince my kid to watch stuff so that we don't have to go outdoors. And I have caught up on a handful of Netflix short multi-part docs that none of them are great, and they could all be done in one episode, but they don't require much from you. And that's about what my brain can handle. So I watched I think it's called like Man with 1,000 Kids, something like that, which is a new series. And I'll be honest, my initial response, as they were saying, oh my God, this guy has made so many babies. He's a sperm donor. At first I was like, why is that such a big deal that he's made so many kids? It's weird, but why is that an issue? Well, as they tell you in this documentary, it's because in part that he's done so many. He's Dutch. There are so many of his kids. They're afraid of accidental, what's the thing? Inbreeding is the word. Incest. They're afraid of accidental incest. Now, I don't know how you guys
There are two words that I didn't expect to ever hear.
I don't know how you guys spent your Friday night, but me, I watched this short documentary about accidental incest because of this guy. And it was fascinating and terrifying. I will not say how it ends in case anybody also wishes to watch this ridiculous thing. But it is, I just enjoy documentaries because they're just ridiculous. They're so much more absurd than anything we could come up with. And that always throws me. And then what else did we see again? My brain is mushy. I have caught up with The Bear. Where are you guys at on that one? Did you finish?
No.
Yeah.
Episode 6, I think.
Yeah. I don't think this season's as good. I'm not the first person to say that. Yes, accidental incest would make a good rock band name. I'm with you. Though it would make you stare at all the members of the group going, Leonard, have you seen Woody Allen's latest film, Coup de Chance? He did, and he reviewed. Yeah, well, you did. You reviewed it. You reviewed it.
I liked it.
Liked, but didn't love.
Yeah.
But yeah, you did review it. I didn't realize that he was fluent in French, not necessarily fluent enough to write, but fluent in French. Mm-hmm. Learn something new every day. Episode 6 of The Bear made me cry. Well, yeah, it's very emotional for sure. I don't know. I think it's one of those things where, because we've watched the lead character sort of try to figure out his life, and that's the show, you know.
Mhm.
I think part of you wants to go, are we still not listening? You know, you want to say, why you're still ignoring Sydney? You're still all right. So to a degree, I'm having a parental reaction to this, to these episodes, going, for crying out loud. They keep telling you.
What did you think of the without spoilers?
Yeah.
The profile of Tina,
Interesting. Very interesting.
directed by Ayo Adebiri.
Oh, really?
Yes, she
Well, there
directed
you
an
go.
episode.
I thought that was really interesting. It's always, you know, there are a lot of shows that sort of do that as their theme, is different episodes will sort of go into one character and give you a bit of insight, which is nice. Do you think Inside Out 2 is twice better than the original? He did not. He
No.
did not.
No, I mean it's a very easy film to like, but to me, they gave us all the best ideas in the first one,
Yeah.
and they were great ideas.
Yeah.
So great that you sort of adding on to them becomes a contrivance.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't have the magic for me.
Arthur, we are on Facebook. It is streamed on Facebook as well. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter, which I will never call X. So
and
yeah,
and
we are there.
MySpace?
We're in MySpace.
And
Look
Friendster?
at you. You're showing off. He's showing off that he knows what things are called. That's very good. I don't think I've ever heard you say Friendster in my entire life. That is fun for me. Frank, you watched the Bratz doc. What did you think? I liked it, but I do get why people are complaining about McCarthy not letting the term go. I've heard some of that. I haven't had a chance to watch it. I really want to. But yeah, haven't had a chance. I hope I like it. It's definitely interesting. You know, the Brat Pack and everything that kind of came from that. It's such a, you know, when I was watching it when I was younger, it wasn't that long ago. But now thinking about, you know, again, if I'm 38, how old are those movies? Around that old, which is still not old, obviously, but it's a while. And there are a lot of younger people who have no clue who the Brat Pack are. So I do think it's nice that they'll get a bit of a sense. And I do think for the most part, those movies hold up pretty well. Nothing's perfect, but I think that they do hold up pretty well. And I think that's at least something that's nice. A few people are asking you about Horizon. Have you seen Horizon?
I have not seen Horizon. I like Westerns a lot. And I probably just ought to go one day this week and
go see it.
Plot myself down and see it.
Yeah.
I you know, I'm not going to be shocked by anything I see or don't see.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yes, Nick. Nick's asking if you watched the Gene Wilder doc.
Yeah,
they
liked
did,
it very
and they
much.
really liked it.
Liked it very much.
I know we talked about it a little bit on the show, but I haven't had a chance to get to that one, but I would really like to. My favorite thing that I've heard from everybody is that there's no tearing down of Gene Wilder. My biggest issue sometimes with docs about somebody is, especially when they're gone, I don't necessarily want dirt. I mean, it's one thing if that's kind of what someone's known for, you know, if that's part of their life, that's one thing. But if not, then just leave everybody with, you know, solid information, you know, and you don't need to tear them. Yeah, exactly. He puts the candle back. Yes, Frank. We yell that to each other rather frequently. But what do you say? Craig says 3-hour multi-part Westerns are not what is needed. Bring back Bud
Bedecker.
There you go.
At the Telluride Film Festival, the year that my old friend Bob Gitt, who was then for years was at the UCLA Film and Television Archive as their preservation, his title was Preservation Officer. I thought he ought to wear a badge.
Yeah.
You know, but that was the title he had. And he was the one who supervised so many films that we now take for granted are available.
Yeah.
And available in great looking and sounding editions to project or to watch at home. He's the guy who did them. Well,
wow.
He salvaged the first Randolph Scott, Bud Bedecker, Burt Kennedy.
Do you know how hard it was to
collaboration.
just swallow the song, the singing? I didn't want to. Come on, everybody. Randolph Scott. Go on. Sorry.
Called Seven Men from Now, 1956. It was produced by John Wayne's company, Batjack, and therefore was out of circulation for decades with the other Batjack titles, and most of them starring John Wayne. But he brought it back. The color had faded, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a good movie, and it's only 78 minutes long. And you don't feel shortchanged when it's over. You don't feel like, well, I wish they'd gone deeper into that character or told me more about that. No, it touches all the bases.
That's so funny.
And it's so good. And the choice of locations is great.
Mm-hmm.
He shot a lot in Lone Pine. And then went on to make another 6 or 7 films together. And but that's my favorite, actually, of them. They're all good.
Michael is saying that he loves your book of Mice and Magic. And as
God
a child, I
bless you,
regularly borrowed it from my public library in my hometown in Germany. Now I'm 45 and still read it regularly. But then he says, is there a chance that it will be published again in the expanded version in German? I only know the version that was published in 1982 by Wilhelm Hein Verlag Munich. I don't think so. But yeah, I don't think so. But
not bloody likely.
Yeah, it would take somebody sort of making it happen,
Although our friend John Burlingame just published a really interesting book about Henry Mancini and the music for the TV show Peter Gunn, and how it literally set off a trend of using jazz for TV series, especially detective film noir-ish TV series. And it's I found it really interesting. And he published it with Bear Manor Media, which
do a lot of good stuff.
Which now is doing publishing on demand.
Mm-hmm.
So, gosh, if I had access to publishing on demand when I was young and industrious, what wouldn't I have tried?
All of it. Truly, knowing you. Sorry, Matt. Hi, Raphael. Thank you for joining us. What is your favorite Western? What is your favorite Western?
I think it's Stagecoach. John Ford's Stagecoach. I just watched most of it again because it was on. It's just such a good movie, and it has everything. It has wonderful cast, great action. The Indian raid, there, and it has Yakima Canutt doing his famous stunt of falling under the team of horses and the stagecoach. And it has some sentimentality, but not too much. It's a wonderful film.
I realized Calamity Jane was on, I guess, TCM the other day. Mommy had it on. And I realized how long it's been since I've watched it.
Yeah.
Because I used to watch it all the time at home. I mean, it was one of those like weekly, it was on probably more than once a week at our house because we had the cassette. But yeah, I realized I haven't seen it in such a long time. And I want to rewatch it. You have that sometimes. There's stuff that you grew up with and you sort of knew backwards and forwards and then realize later on, oh my God, it's probably been 20-ish years since I've watched it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When's the last time you think you actually like sat through it like properly?
More than 20 years.
Yeah, something like that. It's nuts. It's nuts.
I brought that home because you'd fallen in love with Seven Brides for Seven Brothers.
Yeah.
We love it too, Alice and I. Yeah. But we didn't love it quite as much the 75th time as the 74th time that you watched it.
Listen.
We had to add something new. So I said, well, at least she'll recognize Howard Keel.
Yes.
And Calamity Jane. And it's about a tomboy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that worked.
Yeah. Well, same thing. I realized I haven't watched, for crying out loud, Pajama Game in a really long time. The only thing that I remember really vividly with that movie, I mean, I remember the whole movie, but the thing that's really vivid in my mind is how annoyed I was with the Hey There song where he talks to himself. I just always found that particular number to be annoying and would skip. And I looked it up the other day just to sort of see if I still thought it was not very good. And I don't. I still don't like that number. So some things are right. I really enjoy the fact that so many people know the song Steam Heat, but have no idea what it's from.
Really?
Yeah, well, because it gets used all the time as a dance number. Because that choreography, that number is so famous.
Yeah.
People use it and they don't know what it's from or where it comes. Yeah. So it's always interesting when that happens. Victoria, I can't believe it's already 1 o'clock. That's how I feel every day of my life, every single day. I can't believe it's 1 o'clock. I have your original, the Disney films book. Now I found a 3rd edition at a used store. Is there a 4th one?
No.
No.
The last update was in the year 2000. And I kind of like where it leaves off because it leaves off with Toy Story. That's why Woody is on the cover.
Yeah.
And so it gives a well-defined point of...
Because that's another one you get asked about a lot. People say, are you going to do more? And the truth is, because things expanded so significantly after about that point, and there's a number of films that you don't like, it's sort of...
It was not Walt Disney's little company anymore.
Yeah. And so it kind of, it gets to be much bigger in every sense. So this way it's kind of finite and it lives just as it is, which works, we think. Somebody was just saying that the Floyd Norman doc is really expensive online to get. Was it on Netflix or was it on Amazon forever?
I don't
and
remember.
Then it left.
I think Prime.
Yeah, because I know that obviously we know the director and we know Floyd. And I know they fought for a while to keep it around, and then it was removed because a lot of stuff gets removed at this point, which is so strange, by the way, when things just like disappear. I don't like that. I know they say they're making more room, but you go, yeah, there's about 1 billion things. There's so many places that you could watch anything else. Okay, so it's not there either. So is there nowhere to stream it at this point? You have to just buy the DVD. Is that the deal? Is that the deal now? Let's see. Yeah, the trailer's there. You can buy how much is the Blu-ray? How much is the Blu-ray? Can you still get it on iTunes? Sorry guys, I'm looking at this as I'm speaking. So you can't watch it on iTunes anymore.
This has become a thing now.
Yeah.
We're talking to somebody about a book project.
Yeah.
And
figuring out what is available for people to get.
Yeah. And we're going to be recommending older films.
Yeah.
And the current, way the winds are prevailing now, if something isn't available to stream at home, they don't want you to talk about it because it'll only frustrate people.
People can't get to it, and that annoys them.
And I understand that.
Why would he not just sell it? I will ask Michael Fiore, one of the directors. I'll ask him what he's doing about this, because he should change the website. I just went onto the website for the doc, and if you click on the links, they all go to nothing because they obviously don't work anymore. But there must be something. Josh, you see it on Criterion? Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. No, I don't know. Again, they remove stuff all the time from the different, as I say, from the different streaming services. And in some cases, they just move it to a different streaming service. I think I mentioned this, that I really like Sing 2. I don't think Sing 1 is great, but I like Sing 2. And it's one of the few movies Daisy will sort of watch at this point. And it was on Netflix, and then it got moved over to Amazon. And you had to buy it, which is fine. I don't mind buying it. But it was just like, why do you move things around? Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm trying to do a little searching to see if there's a way.
It's a new game
to get to it. But I would say I'll talk to Michael Fiore and see what he's having people do who want to buy it, because obviously it's pretty important to be able to get a hold of it, and such a shame if you can't. Weird.
The other night, two people asking about watching movies over and over again. The other night, I guess July 4th, we had a very quiet 4th barbecue here at home, just the family. And we lingered, Alice and I lingered watching a game show. And then we said goodnight to Daisy. And, You went downstairs.
Nyhampa. That's what that sounds like if you were wondering. Go on.
And walked upstairs and did what I always do. I turned on TCM on our big bedroom TV set. And there was North by Northwest. And I sat down and Alice did, and we watched the whole thing through with great delight.
Mm.
It's such a good movie. It's so good.
Mm.
And even though I know behind the scenes stories and all that might chip away at some of the experience, no, I'm involved in this movie. The dialogue between him and Eva Marie Saint, but Ernest Lehman was the screenwriter,
Mm-hmm.
is wonderful, brilliant, and very sexy. Very sexy. And
that's what I've liked about watching some of the behind the scenes stuff that they've done, because the first time that I saw one of the docs about it, and they talked about all the ways they found to go around the rules.
Yeah.
Things like you kiss and then you speak for a few seconds. So you can't kiss for longer than 3 seconds. So what they would have at the time, that was the whole thing, is it was like a 3-second kiss. So what they would do is they'd have them kiss and then pull away and say a line, and kiss and then pull away and say a line, so they could get away with it. Sort of like the train going into the tunnel and going, oh, and it finally all comes together. Yeah. It's and of course the kid with his hands over his ears.
And then the crop dusting scene. It's just so audacious.
Yeah.
Cary Grant is given instructions to take a certain bus from Chicago and let him off anywhere USA.
Mm-hmm.
And on this big screen, you see the bus and it stops in the middle of this barren field, 2-lane highway, and deposits him there. And he's there all alone. And there's nothing to be seen in any direction. And then Hitchcock orchestrates the scene. And Cary Grant was still young enough to credibly run and duck and
do all of the things.
Do all of those things the role called for.
Yeah.
That the scene called for.
Okay, sorry. Karen is saying that Floyd Norman documentary is on Criterion Channel streaming. Yes?
So if you subscribe,
are we sure?
If you subscribe to the Criterion Channel, you have access to it.
Yeah, there you go. The explosion is great FX. I have to say, there are a number of effects that I've been thinking about recently. Again, as with so much changing, and people doing more and more CG, I always say the same thing over and over again. That's why practical effects age better.
Yeah.
Because they just do. But watching that stuff and watching him in that jump, even though it's not, it looks pretty damn good.
Pretty convincing.
Like, all things considered, it still looks pretty damn good.
This was the high definition transfer.
Yeah.
That TCM was showing.
Yeah.
And all those scenes, which Hitchcock very cleverly set at nighttime. They were shooting day for night, as they call it. And I heard a story years ago about somebody who was walking through a post-production house where they were doing the transfer, the first video transfer. And the guy walked through and said, "Oh, it's too dark." And he adjusted and lightened the picture, not knowing it was day for night, and exposed all the matte lines and revealed the
Isn't that funny?
The special effects.
Jeez.
Which someone went back and
fixed.
Redid.
Yeah. God, that's funny.
Yeah.
It's just nuts.
Same thing happened with the first DVD release of Citizen Kane.
Yeah. I should say, a few people are mentioning that part of why that film was on is because Eva Marie Saint just turned 100.
Right.
Turned 100 years old and still looks gorgeous, still has great stories to tell. Amazing lady. Like, really amazing lady. Kinahura, as we say. It's amazing. It's incredible to get to that age. Oof. It's nuts. So I'm trying to think of what else you guys have been watching. Because I say my parents have really gotten into the habit of trying to watch at least one thing every night.
We're watching.
Uh,
we're involved in 3 miniseries right now.
Yeah.
Like a lot of other people, we're watching season 3 of The Bear.
Yep.
And enjoying it.
I just say, this is the biggest difference in your life.
Yeah.
Since the Movie Guide ended and Entertainment Tonight ended. My dad could never watch TV. Not couldn't, but very rarely watch TV. Most of the time because he couldn't keep up with it. He never knew when he was going to be able to sit and watch. Now, also, this is all different with streaming and everything else because you can watch something when you feel like it. You have your DirecTV, you record it, it's fine. But this is such a big shift in the last couple of years, really recently, that you're suddenly watching TV shows.
That's right.
Because you never, ever did before.
Nope.
Yeah. So you're saying, so you're watching The Bear?
We're watching
Pachinko.
Presumed Innocent.
Yeah, Presumed Innocent and Pachinko.
And I have no recollection of the Harrison Ford film, Presumed
Really?
Innocent.
That's so funny. Yeah. I've been watching. See, this is the other issue though with streaming, right? Is you have to remember where things live to go back to them. Because I forget, like everybody else, that's one of the ways we're spoiled with TV is that if you record stuff, my mom and I are big on recording stuff on our DirecTV. I open it up and it's sitting there for me and I go, oh, okay, there's a new episode of this, a new episode of that. Fine. But when you have to remember to check your various streaming services and go, what day does this one come out again? And this is hardly, it's champagne problems. It's not like the end of the world, but it just requires you remembering. And I don't, especially now because my brain is just mush. I have a hard time remembering when something's coming out. I'm bad for
Pachinko, that. I read about first in a press release.
Yeah.
Last week about them launching season 2 in August.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what is this about? And then I started reading a little bit and we said, well, let's give it a try. And we're hooked.
Yeah.
We're now hooked. And we're learning about 20th century history with Korea and Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm embarrassed to say that I knew next to nothing. Although we did see that incredible documentary, the name of which I'm going to forget, about the rape of Nanking in 1937. That with the city in the title. Darn. Well, we'll get to that later. But it's an eye opener and very intense, as is The Bear.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about gripping.
Yeah. Jamie Lee Curtis is so good. Jamie Lee Curtis is just so good. It is so much fun to watch somebody, we don't know her, but we've gotten to know her a bit ever since she received the Maltin Modern Master in Santa Barbara. We've had an opportunity to get to know her a little bit. And I told you, I didn't realize that she has been for over 30 years writing children's books. She sent all of them to Daisy, signed them and sent them all to Daisy. So she's amazing. But it's really fun to see what she's doing because she loves it.
Yeah.
She talks about that. She loves it. She loves filming. She loves doing all of this. And it's such a great part in The Bear. It's yet another character that's not just straight up easy to like. It's another difficult character who has to be nuanced.
Yep.
Has to be nuanced. And we send emails back and forth a little bit. And, I emailed her last night after I watched the episode that she's in. I just said, you're so damn good. You're just so damn good. And she really is. And that's the thing as well. I think getting older, that's also really fun, I think, for her because
that she can take on
that she can do what
parts.
she wants.
Right.
And it doesn't matter. I think there's I think that sometimes, depending on your mentality, but there are some actors who are really enjoying getting to a place where they don't have to be pretty, male or female, where they can just do more than that. I mean, I've even heard, it sounds funny to say Brad Pitt, but I've heard Brad Pitt talk about the fact that he's having a lot of fun as he gets older, playing more character type roles.
Right.
Now, he's still good looking. This is not a surprise, but it's just the idea that he can play silly.
Mm-hmm. Right.
When you interviewed him, one of the things we talked about was, is it Greater Than Fiction? Is that the one he's in? No, Burn After Reading. He's in Burn After Reading.
Coen Brothers.
And he plays this ridiculous, like a great, but ridiculous character. And he just loves getting to do that.
Yeah.
He loves getting to do these roles that somebody might go, well, why is Brad Pitt doing that? Because it's fun. Why not? You know, it's a good time. And I think that's, you know, when you've worked for a long time, I think getting to a space where you can just really enjoy yourself is a big deal, you know? So I'll take that.
So I'm going to go see Horizon, huh?
Apparently.
Yeah.
Don't have to, I'm not making you do it. Don't look at me, man. I'm not making you do anything.
I've gotten very choosy. With my the onset of middle age. That's what I'll call it.
Sure. Why not? No, I think we're all spoiled because there's so much we can watch at home now, and that's really nice. You know, but then there is nothing like sitting in a movie theater. One of my good friends who usually joins us on Sundays, Josh, he likes going to the Lemley in Encino over here because it's just him and little old ladies. And he went and saw the June Squibb movie the other day there. Yeah. And he said, sure enough, it was him and the little old ladies. So that's his favorite to go for that reason, which I very much understand. I really do miss going to the movies because I don't get to do it at the moment. And I very much look forward to when that can happen again on a more regular basis, because there is just something nice about it. And what makes you hesitant about Horizon? The bad box office? You didn't like Yellowstone?
No, I like Yellowstone.
Yeah. Probably a combo of hearing that it's terrible.
The buzz.
And hearing that it's terrible from a lot of people, and it being long. I think that is probably why.
That's a good summation.
Yeah. If I'm guessing, that's probably it. Also, who doesn't want like 17 films, right? How many is he making? Four of them? Nobody asked for that. Nobody asked for that at all. Not a living soul. Not a living soul asked for that. Yeah. I mean, again, I applaud him for saying, I'm Kevin Costner and I do what I want. And I'm going to take my own money and make these films, because good for you. At this point, why not?
Yeah.
You want to make something, make it. Why not? It doesn't mean anybody has to watch it or like it, but make it. No harm in that. I have to tell. So on July 4th, we went over to our friend's house, and she had a friend there who has a son who's 13. And I started grilling the kid because I wanted to know everything about what school is like now. He's in 7th grade, because I've brought this up before, but I'm really interested. I was like, do you guys still have to learn cursive? Do you still learn how to write in cursive? And he goes, no, we don't learn cursive anymore. I was like, okay. You do book reports? Yeah, we do book reports. Okay. How many sources? Do you still have to do bibliographies? How many of them can be internet? How many of them have to be real? Oh no, we can use all internet sources today. And again, I went, and I said to my dad, I don't trust a lot of these. I mean, hell, even the newspapers now, which used to have to be vetted articles, they make mistakes, egregious ones. And I just thought, no, please, you have to keep going to libraries. Because when I was young, which is a while, I grant you, but when I was young, the big thing at my school was that once the internet became an option, which happened about, we were talking about this, like 7th-ish grade, 6th, 7th grade is when it started to become a source you could use for things. I put in, you could use 2 internet sources and had to be 2 book sources. You had to go to the library and write out your bibliography. This kid's telling me most kids don't even take notes by hand. Most of them have tablets or computers, something that.
When I started
I'm
teaching,
just like,
when I started teaching at USC in January 1998, the last century, everyone had notebooks out and pens.
And now when you walk into his classroom, and I have to tell you, it really throws some people who come in because they think the kids aren't paying attention. We've had a lot of actors, directors, publicists come in, less so now because I think they're kind of used to it. But for a very long time, they were going, why are all these kids on their computers? Why are they sitting on their computers? They're taking notes.
Kevin brings up a very important question.
Yes. Kevin says, Jesse, you grilled a kid on July 4th. Were there no hamburgers? He looked delicious. What can I say? No, I did. I felt slightly bad after the fact, but I was just like, tell me everything, because I never get to talk to this age of kid. And I was just like, I want to know. Do you still have to do this? Do you still have to do that? Is this a thing you have to learn? You know, I mean, I keep asking people, what do they do with your cell phones? Do you have to lock them up? Because I want you to lock your phone. I don't want you having your phone. I want it taken away. I don't want it to be part of your life.
Yeah.
All these kinds of things. And I was going over this with my dad earlier, just saying how my generation, short of the folks during the Industrial Revolution, my generation has gone through one of the biggest changes, because we went from not having internet to having internet, and then going beyond that, being able to IM each other. And then it got into sort of social media with stuff like LiveJournal, things like that, and Tumblr, which then moved into your MySpaces, your Friendsters, your Facebooks, all this kind of stuff. This all became a thing in my teens. And so trying to explain to someone that these things did not exist and it wasn't an option. I have had kids say to me, how did you make play dates? You're like, you see, you called them on the phone, the phone, you called them, and then you made a date, and then you couldn't break it because you had no way of telling them you weren't showing up. So you just had to go. Even if you were dying, you just had to go. It's very different. Scott, which made me laugh, my husband was saying something that they did. He's from England. They do 3 rings and hang up.
Huh.
And that's how they told their parents they were at their friends' houses. You let it ring 3 times, hang up. That meant they got there safe. You know, how do you sign your name without cursive? I guess
nowadays you can squiggle on that on a touch screen.
I guess
And
that
whatever you squiggle, they'll
Yeah.
accept.
I know. No, I know. Doug's saying, well, the generation before you went from horse and buggies and kerosene lamps to the man on the moon. No, I get it. But I mean, it's just insane to think about how different, how drastically different everything is, just in terms of even how people get their information. The fact that nobody thinks to look something up, it drives me absolutely insane. You know, all you have to do when you read something is you can still use your friend the internet. If I read, random example, Daffy Duck was shot. I read this in a magazine. Oh my God, Daffy Duck was shot and killed. I then go to my interweb and I type this in. And if nothing comes up, it means it's probably not true. Not always, but many times. A friend of ours accidentally reported that Chuck Norris had died. And it was an accident. And my dad read it to me and I said, that's not true. He said, really? I said, yeah, because we would all know. It would be in the news. We would all know. But just to be safe, in case it happened to get by, I typed it in. Chuck Norris is alive and well, thank goodness. So that's a really simple way to just find out if something's real or not. And people don't even do that. Like they won't even go that far. It's in your hand and they won't even go that far to verify information. So it scares me to think about how kids are learning and how they're trying to figure out what's real and what's not.
Yeah.
And, you know, as I say, the idea that you're doing reports for school and it can all come from the internet, you know, you want to say, well, I mean, that was a big thing is we started to be able to use the online version of newspaper stories. So you could cite the New York Times, you know, even though it was online, you could cite the New York Times because it did exist in real life and it was verified. I don't know. It's just weird to me. And then there's W.C. Fields.
Last weekend, my wife and I are saying, what do we feel like watching tonight? And the nice folks at Kino Lorber, who've been licensing dozens and dozens of vintage titles, 30s, 40s, 50s, from Universal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Universal also owns the pre-49 Paramount Library, pre-1949. And so they put out a new 2K master of W.C. Fields in You're Telling Me, which was a remake, a pretty close remake of one of his silent features. And
we love you too, Tony.
the
Just gonna
minute
put that out there.
the minute it starts, we're laughing. It's funny from the word go. And it's just him trying to walk up his front walkway and up 2 steps at night to his impatiently waiting wife, and he can't get the hat on right, and it's just uproariously funny. It's a terrific film. We also watched Man on the Flying Trapeze,
and you've got Larry Buster Crabbe,
which didn't hold up as well as I thought it would, but this one, so good.
I have a Buster Crabbe question.
Just quickly, and we were laughing without having an audience around us. It's unwise, generally speaking, to watch comedies alone, but
you weren't alone; you were together.
That's right.
That doesn't count. Can I ask my Buster Crabbe
Yes.
question? How long did he make movies for?
Oh, well, he transitioned into television.
Okay.
In the 50s. And he
successfully?
Well, yeah, he had a series called Captain Gallant of the Foreign Legion.
Okay.
Which they shot in Africa, in Morocco, I think.
Wow.
And there's a great story with that. Want the story? By the way, his real name is Clarence.
So his name is Clarence Crabbe?
Right.
That's literally what his parents did to him. But I'm sorry, they named him Clarence Crabbe? Did they hate him?
They did that.
Did they hate him? Sorry, go on.
So they're doing this Foreign Legion series, and it's not working. We need some comedy relief. And Buster says, get Fuzzy.
Yeah, yes, Flash Gordon. That's what Buster Crabbe's most famous for, is being Flash Gordon.
Yeah. And a couple of days later, a guy arrives in Morocco, having made a long trip, and shows up on set, and Buster says, who's this? I said, well, it's Fuzzy Knight. He said, no, Fuzzy O'Brien. Fuzzy Knight was a well-known vaudevillian who was also a Western sidekick to Johnny Mac Brown and others in the 40s. And Fuzzy O'Brien was Fuzzy St. John. Fuzzy St. John.
There's too many fuzzies.
Yeah. Al St. John, who was Roscoe Arbuckle's nephew. You following?
There will be a quiz. No, I'm lost. I'm completely lost. Go on.
They sent for the wrong Fuzzy.
I hate when that happens. I hate when Clarence Crabbe. Did his parents hate him? Genuinely. Why would you do that to someone? Terrible. So, did he work into his old age?
Yeah, he made a film called The Comeback Trail for Harry Hurwitz, where he played essentially a variation on himself.
All right. So he had a full career.
He did, but it tapered off.
Yeah.
In the 50s.
Yes.
He sold swimming pools. He endorsed swimming pools.
I really hope he did the Tarzan yell first. I hope he just sort of that's how he got into it. Sean, quite literally, this is what I said when my dad asked me if Chuck Norris was dead. I said the number of memes that would already be on the internet if Chuck Norris did in fact die, everyone would know he was dead because the memes would be out of control. Sean says, can Chuck Norris even die? I heard he played Russian roulette with a fully loaded gun and never lost. Exactly. That's the thing. If Chuck Norris were to die, you'll know because the internet will be losing its mind with memes. Kevin says, I was just telling my neighbor about the porch scene in, whoop, it just moved.
It's a Gift.
In It's a Gift, yes.
My favorite Fields film.
It's because it's so damn funny. I can't get it to go up. Yes. Hilarious. Truly hilarious. He has one of those faces that's funny, and that's part of why it worked.
Mm-hmm.
I do wonder sometimes, because it's like when Laurel and Hardy come on screen, I'm usually laughing. Like the second I see them, I just start laughing because they're funny. And I do wonder sometimes if somebody who's never seen them or had never seen W.C. Fields, would they have the same reaction?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are they just funny on sight, or are they also funny on sight because I think they're funny, you know?
Someone just sent me the British preview trailer for Fra Diavolo
Okay.
with Stanley O and Ollie O. And it impels me to ask you the question, can you still do Kneesy, Earsy, Nosy?
Of course I can. We're a bit too close for it.
Yeah.
But it's this. But the way that Dick Ban taught me how to do it, he liked to add flair. So you go like this with your fingers. Da, 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 da.
A father has so few moments that he can hold to his heart.
I'm just
forever.
saying, look,
This is one.
these are your friends who taught me these things as a child. You know, not only could I recite word for word every single Lucky Strike commercial, thanks to Jack Benny, but I could also do things, you know, like that. Oh, there's cross hands. There's all sorts of different ways to do your kneesy, earsy, nosy. But yeah, that was, and to have Dick Ban teach you that, I feel elevates it.
Right.
If you're not familiar with Richard Ban,
You should be.
You should be. They wrote the Our Gang book together, and this is his life, is these things. He sent us some really cool pictures a little while ago when he was back east at the Eastman House. Do you remember? The gloves on, he was looking at these reels. Just gloriously nerdy things. 1 second. All right. I asked you guys today what movies you're looking forward to right now, because there's a number of things appearing before us. And people always ask my dad, what are you looking forward to? What are you looking forward to? The truth is we don't pay a ton of attention to what's coming because we're sort of just keeping up with what's here already. I did enjoy, so apparently Wicked is opening the same time as Gladiator 2.
Mm-hmm.
And so people are trying to come up with a combo name a la Barbenheimer. My suggestion was Wickidiator. It's not great, but it may have to do, you know? Let's see. I always look forward to anything I haven't seen before and what looks intriguing. That's why I checked out Taylor Swift's concert movie. There you go. Yeah, it's 3 hours long. Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed that. Do you have your Telluride Film Festival tickets? I do not know.
Not as yet.
Scott, my husband and I are not going this year for the first time in a very, 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 very long time. I'm not going to Telluride. But hopefully another year we will return. Do you have a favorite film featuring the last work of an actor or actress? It's hard to top John Wayne in The Shootist.
Yes, it is. That's very much a valedictory film for him, and was intended as such. So it's hard to beat. Henry Fonda in On Golden Pond, same thing. It's nice when something sad, the demise of a person that you love or admire, can turn to something that has resonance.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And significance. So those are the two most obvious examples. I'm sure there's others that I'm not thinking of.
Yeah. Laura says she's looking forward to Thelma because she wants a good laugh. I think you will get that.
Yeah.
I very much think
and
you will get that.
People haven't talked a lot about Richard Roundtree, but I must say the last 2 or 3 years.
I mean, there's an example
Yeah.
of this is his last performance, and it's something that you really enjoy.
The last 2 or 3 years, he had several really nice parts. He was on Grace and Frankie with Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda, and in this film Thelma with June Squibb, and he was in another senior citizen movie because he had acquired a kind of grace. First off, he looked wonderful. He lost his hair, but he looked wonderful, and there was a gentleness to him that movies didn't take advantage of because he was Shaft after all, you know.
You got to enjoy it. A few people are saying some of their favorite performances. Spencer Tracy and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Edgar Bergen's cameo in the Muppet movie. Always a good one.
Yes. Jim Henson described what it was like when Edgar Bergen came to their studio in London to do his episode of The Muppet Show. and he took out his trunk or case and opened it and took out first Charlie McCarthy and then Mortimer Snerd. And they were all just, in some form of heaven.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's not, I think that, again, a lot of it is connected to childhood. But when you love something and it is something that you've enjoyed for a long time, seeing it come to life is really special, And so seeing those characters in the same way we've talked about when you got to interview, you've interviewed Miss Piggy, you've interviewed Kermit the Frog, you've interviewed Elmo. It's joyful.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful experience. And also because the puppeteer takes it seriously.
Yeah.
It's meant to be real. There's no sort of, isn't this funny? Do you see me? I've got this. It's like, no, this is important. And I know what I'm doing means a lot. So Shannon says, on a serious note, do you think the Rust shooting trials will have a positive effect on set safety? No. And I'll tell you why. Because at the end of the day, all any of them care about is money. And I hate to say that, but it's the truth. There are so many things wrong on every single set. In some cases, not as bad as it used to be, but you're always going to get overworked. You're always going to get people who are just too tired to function. And I just think with the way that people are greedy, I can't see it really changing. They can pretend, they can find ways to sort of, okay, now you have to add this, that, the other step in. But one of the things that we heard, obviously, when the shooting happened is they talked about how there had been a number of people on the crew who'd walked out at different points of the film because they were exhausted and not being treated well. So, this is very normal, unfortunately. And I would love for it to never happen again. And hopefully with guns, we won't have it. But no, all they care about is money.
We can hope.
Which sucks, but it's
I'm
true.
so glad that your children liked Edgar and Company in Fun and Fancy Free, Michael. Thanks for sharing that.
That's great. He's got some of his show and tell.
More coins and tokens. See American Madness. If you want to see a good movie, it's still true.
Let me see.
It was true in 1932 when Frank Capra made it, and it is still true today.
That's great. See American Madness.
Which is about a run on a bank.
Wow.
Walter Houston being the banker.
Happy birthday to you, John. He says he's 35 today. Very, very happy birthday to you. And yeah, Nick, you mean like not checking if a gun is really loaded? It's not that it wasn't loaded. It was supposed to be loaded with blanks. So that's where they screwed up.
Heavily promoted film. There are a lot of collectibles from it. Cecil B. DeMille's Union Pacific, 1939.
Let's see the train.
Yeah. And it gave, this is plastic, actually. Very lightweight.
Yeah. Back of it. It's got a little.
Well, here's a medallion. This is not a coincidence. It's a medallion of Adolf Zucker, who liked commemorating things by commissioning people to do sculpts of him.
Speaking of cursive, it's signed at the bottom. It's hard to see, I know, but it's signed at the bottom. The back of it says, famous players, Lasky Corporation, 1911 to 1926, 15th anniversary.
And you never had to wonder who was behind Universal Pictures because he made himself known to one and all. I'm speaking of Uncle Carl Laemmle.
Compliments of Universal Film Co. And on the back, it says, souvenir.
Just so you know. Just so there's no
That's
mistaking it. George Arliss played various historical figures, including Voltaire.
Oh my. George Arliss as Voltaire, and on the back it says Warner Brothers Sublime hit Voltaire.
Sublime.
He's got
That
a
means good.
old school wig on, a powdered wig.
Here is, what is this one?
This one is Compliments of Los Angeles Rubber Stamp Company. The Courtship of Miles Standish.
Right, starring Charles Ray, who was a very big star in the silent era, in the teens into the mid-20s, and who built a studio that is still standing. The studio became Monogram Pictures in the late 30s, early 40s, and then it became KCET, our local.
Oh, that's funny. That's very funny.
Local public television outlet. Oh, here's some Paramount money.
Is this how they paid you, Daddy? This is instead of a paycheck?
Yeah.
Good for 50 cents in trade. Paramount 5451 Marathon, Hollywood, California.
And there's Charles Lawton.
They could have taken down the chin. That's rude. That's just rude. They gave him one hell of a chin, man. Charles Lawton as Captain Kidd. You can really see the double chin there. They were not kind.
And here's a handsome couple.
Yes.
Rita Hayworth and Stuart Granger.
Rita Hayworth and Stuart Granger, Salome. And on the back, it has the sort of more famous dancing pose. I'll show you. Here's the front, which is the two of them. And here's the back of it.
This two-sided coin asks the question, what are you, man or mouse?
Yeah. Sean's saying, I love these medallions and coins to promote films. So much of the souvenirs made for modern movies seem to be disposable. And Victoria's saying, and mostly toxic plastic. The thing is, this is what always blows my mind. We used to get really cool stuff. There was a time when it was thought about, like they really thought about what they were sending, and it was a blast. Now, every now and then we do, but it is rare by comparison. And it's true, a lot of it's throwaway, but sometimes they do spend time and money, and we have a handful of them that we've kept forever because they're brilliant. So this says, see Eddie Cantor, Strike Me Pink.
Yep.
And it's got a rat on it.
No, mouse.
Sorry.
Are you man or are you mouse?
Forgive me. Scott is asking about the Mystery Science Theater 3000. He has talked about that a million times, but it's funny. It's always funny. Yeah, on the back it says, are you man or mouse? Of this one. So tell them about MSTK 3000.
A half hour out of my life.
That will never die.
That will never die. And all because I gave the film Gorgo 2.5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
I was just a prop.
An adorable prop, if I may say.
I was flattered to be invited to be on that show.
Mm-hmm.
It will never die. And
it's one of the things he gets asked about most.
Yeah.
Like Disney Treasures, Mystery Science Theater 3000, and Laser Blast. I would say those are the three things more than almost anything we get asked about. This says, see me in the Gold Rush, and it's Charlie Chaplin. And on the back, it says, see Charlie Chaplin in the Gold Rush Strand Theater, Manchester, New Hampshire. Did they do it for different theaters?
Apparently.
Why Laser Blast? Well, my dad gave Laser Blast 2.5 stars. Is it 2 or 2.5? whatever it was, he didn't like it, and people have always brought it up. It's just a thing.
And last but not least, the best, the most organic one of these, a broken coin to promote the cereal called
Oh man,
The Broken Coin,
that's awesome.
starring Francis Ford, John Ford's older brother.
And it's got half Latin on the back. And it says The Broken Coin, Universal 30 reels, 15 weeks. It's great. Looks a bit like Kirk Douglas. They all look at, Harrison is saying they all look in mint condition. They have lived in this case for, I don't even know how long. But I told you, a lot of my dad's stuff, both my parents actually, a lot of their stuff looks fantastic. It has all really held up well.
Yeah.
And I think that in large part, it's just things were made better. You know, my mom, because she collects her Royal British commemoratives, some of her stuff is 100 years old, more than that. You know, and honestly, with a number of them, you would never know. You really would never know. A lot of your ceramics, yours too,
Yeah.
the colors are perfect. You'd have no clue.
No clue. The only thing we've done is we've been conscious of sunlight.
Yeah. At our old house, there was a corner that got a ton of sun, and so you just sort of accepted that it was going to happen. But then we did put some protective, because you can get protective glass for frame pieces and stuff like that. Film for the window. But yeah, in general, in this house that we're in, we've been in this house for almost 10 years. I guess 10 years. Yeah, Jesus. And it doesn't get a ton of direct sunlight. There's a lot of light in the house, but not a lot of direct sunlight. So it's easier to keep things kind of out of it. Because sun is the worst. Sun will bleach everything.
Yeah. Daisy will inherit a museum.
Well, this is Daisy will inherit a museum.
Or have the world's most
biggest
eclectic yard sale.
That's what I always say. I'm going to have the world's biggest yard sale. Not really. But no, my hope for all of my parents' stuff is that it would find homes, you know, is that it would go, whether it's to a library or an archive or somewhere, just so that it can live, you know.
I don't want them in a drawer somewhere.
No. A lot of the stuff, you know, it's just, it's special. Neither of my parents like to buy things that are brand new, but every now and then something comes out. I'm looking up and I'm seeing the Hoppy, cookie jar. And I don't think that's very old.
No.
But every now and then, you know, they'll give in, kind of like the W.C. Fields cookie jar behind me. Some things, yeah. But truly, it amazes me how well so much of your stuff holds up. Posters, everything. As I say, the colors are so vibrant. Even, you know, like this RC, you have an RC Cola thing. I'll turn you guys for a second. You can see. This is also, that part of the bar is my husband's, where he actually does mixed drinks. You can kind of see on our walls, there's some pictures there. And the colors are beautiful. And how old do you reckon that the June Haver one is?
30 years, 35 years.
You think that?
Oh,
no, the poster.
When it was made.
Yeah.
When it was made in the 40s.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
and the colors are perfect.
Yeah.
The colors on it are absolutely perfect. Same thing with the Chesterfield with Virginia Mayo. The colors are amazing. They really hold. If they are in the right place. It's crazy. Scott's asking if you remember who asked you to do Mystery Science Theater.
No, I don't.
No, it's a long time.
I did give Mike Nelson a blurb for his book, Mike Nelson's Mega Cheese.
Maybe that. Anything Betty Boop is very popular, especially on the Bronx. Yeah. Again, it's funny what lives. It's funny what people still want to buy, what they still collect, because you really don't know. And that's one of the big things my parents always say is don't buy something because you think it's going to be worth money. Because first of all, you never, ever know. Ever. You never know what's going to be worth money.
And the few times we have bought for investment,
yeah,
flop.
flop, no good. You have to buy things because you want them. And then if they happen to be valuable, that's nice. But you can't. It just doesn't work like that. So, I look around and I don't know every story because there's too much stuff, but I know many of them. And my parents really loved going on their hunts. As wonderful as eBay is, because you can get to stuff that you otherwise would never have found.
Right.
There's still something really, really fun about looking at something and going, okay, my parents always talk about going to Brimfield in Massachusetts.
Brimfield, Mass.
And that was a big show. And their favorite is when it was raining and they could actually drove through the field.
Brimfield Antiques takes place 3 times a year, I believe.
Yeah.
Memorial Day weekend, and then maybe Labor Day or weekend after Labor Day.
Mm-hmm.
And one giant field, and then a 2-lane highway going through the town. And there was a schism in the family that started it, so they took the field across the road.
That one I don't go to.
Right.
Yeah.
And one year when it was raining and we didn't really want to slop around in the mud, we just drove through the aisles and roll down the window and say, any Mickey Mouse stuff?
So I love that. And I love the image of the two of them. But yeah, and when I was younger, we still would go and look for stuff. I had to go to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. This is one of the many times that they were guinea pigging me and testing me and trying to see if they could figure out all of my body's various party tricks. And my mom and I spent 2 weeks there. And we ended up driving out because we were near, it was called Red Wing. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
There's a Red Wing factory. And my mom found out that there were several really big antique shops. And we had nothing else to do on the weekend, because the thing about being in Rochester is because the hospital is the hub of everything. When it's closed, everything's closed because there's nobody there. Everybody's just there for that work. So on weekends, we would just try to amuse ourselves. And we drove out and we drove to one of these big houses, like it was a factory. I say house, big factory, massive. And my mom and I were just running around and looking at everything. And it was so cool. So yeah, I don't think anything really replaces finding stuff.
No.
Nothing replaces the
thrill,
joy.
the thrill of the chase.
Yeah,
is
sure.
intact. It's intact.
Oh, thank you. Craig says he enjoyed our podcast with Michael Westmore. What an
So did
incredible
we.
family. So did we. Our newest episode of the podcast is up with Michael Westmore, who is a member of the illustrious Westmore family, who were the hair and makeup heads of every studio, pretty much.
At one time, there are 6 children altogether.
Yeah.
4 of them were simultaneously the head of makeup.
Universal.
Universal, Paramount. No.
RKO.
Paramount, 20th Century Fox, MGM, and RKO.
All of them.
I lose track. Yeah.
But absolutely fascinating. And then more of the family has gone into it because it started with the grandfather who came here from England. Then he had the 6 sons.
Mm-hmm.
Then those sons have all had kids and they do different things. So it's just fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. And he has so many good stories. And there are people that he worked really closely with. He was with Elizabeth Taylor forever. Mm-hmm. And with Sylvester Stallone for a really, really long time. But he has just a ton of fascinating stories beyond just his family, but everybody that he spent time with. And it's great. One of the things that he's most well known for at this point is he did all of the Star Trek makeup.
I think he got 9 Emmy Awards.
Yeah. He did it.
Star Trek
he either said 17 or 18 years, and incredible, just absolutely incredible. So yeah, please listen. He's wonderful, and it was so much fun to talk to him. Really, really enjoyed that. Max was just asking if anybody's seen Maxine. It's a horror thing, so he probably won't. I don't have the time at the moment, but a lot of my horror friends didn't like it, which I think is interesting. That's the new one with Mia Goth.
Yeah.
It's the third, right? They made 3. They made like 3 of these movies, not called Maxine, but there's 2 others that go with it. So I'm interested. I don't know. Anyway, my friends, I can't believe it, but it is that time. We are here next week. I think that following week is no, not yet. Almost Comic-Con. I can't believe it. Comic-Con is in a few weeks, which just seems not possible, but it is. And we will be there again. Our panel is Friday, that Friday the 24th, I think, or something like that.
At
Friday
4 p.m.
at 4 o'clock. So always excited about that. We love going and doing Comic-Con. It's a blast. But yeah, that's us for now, my friends. We'll see you next Sunday. Everybody, please take care of yourselves. And like that.
And be kind.